creativity in its purest form, I believe, is the same thing as spiritual openness. That is, you are open to spiritual influences from around you. Now, if you talk to the greatest artists and the greatest geniuses and the greatest musicians, all the people that are the most looked up to creatives in society, and you ask them, how do you get your ideas? The answer is that they come to them if you ask just about any of them. Now, the truth is that they have to practice a lot to be able to be sufficient instruments, right? They have to have the dexterity in their hands. They have to be used to the brush strokes or whatever it is. They have to have the understanding of engineering processes in the case of people that are inventors. But once they have developed those, the way that they have ideas, the way that they exercise their creativity is just by opening up, by actually calming the mind, by stopping the mind and letting the ideas flow through them. And I have had this experience many times myself as a musician. If I completely just stop my thinking and just let music come to me, my hands, I play guitar, my hands will play the notes. I'm doing the same thing right here. I'm doing the same thing with these videos. If I just allow, I'm not thinking at all. I'm just allowing the ideas to flow through me. Now, these aren't ideas that are brand new to me. Every once in a while there will be an idea that comes to me brand new. Mostly they're ideas that I've thought about in the past, but the presentation of them, the way that I'm communicating it, is just flowing through me. I'm not putting any thought into it at all, although actually when I say that, it kind of tempts me to break that state of connection, because as soon as I do start thinking, and especially if I start thinking about how I look or worrying about that I'm going to run out of things to say, that's when the conscious mind kicks on and it blocks my connection. So I have to consciously quiet my mind to allow the ideas to flow through me. Now, this process will work for any sort of creative endeavor. If you want creativity, and creativity will serve you in just about anything that you do. If you have a job, if you have a business, if you would like to have a business, but you're not quite sure what business to have, calm your mind and let the creativity flow through you, and you'll come up with ideas. Now, the question, where do those ideas come from? That's a little more difficult to answer. They come from somewhere. They come from somewhere outside of my conscious mind, outside of the person's conscious mind. And they seem to be some sort of spiritual energy that is coming to me. And it's very difficult for me to explain or to figure out exactly what that is. So maybe those are spirits that are floating around that are putting ideas in my head. That's possible. Or it could be that I'm connected to some sort of source intelligence, some sort of, people talk about the Akashic fields as this source of all information that you can connect to. But whatever it is, the prerequisite is that you need to be open. You need to calm your mind. You need to quiet your mind. That means to quiet your thinking. It's basically a meditation. If you ever do a meditation practice, the way that a meditation works is that you stop your mind from its normal mental chatter. Now, for most of us, that's difficult because our mind is on pretty much 24/7, except when we're sleeping, at least that we know of. So to tell your mind, okay, just give it a rest for a minute, is pretty difficult. You can, when you're just starting out, you can usually do this for maybe a few seconds, and then another thought comes into your mind. And it's very difficult to stop thoughts from coming into your mind. So it takes practice. It takes a certain level of discipline for you to be able to do that. And the normal way that you do that is by focusing on something that is repetitive and not particularly interesting, such as your breath. Just focus on breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And when you think about what you ate for lunch yesterday, or whatever comes up in your mind, what you have to do at work tomorrow, you just let it go. You say, okay, that's a thought. I'm not thinking right now. I'm meditating. I'm going to let that go. Breathe in, breathe out. And if you can get good at that and then apply that same level of mind, that same state of mind, that same level of energy to your creative endeavors, then all of a sudden you have infinite ideas. Now, I'm recording this video right now with an idea for a topic that was one sentence. I said, I'm going to talk about creativity in its relationship to spirituality. That was my idea for a topic. From there on out, I had no ideas at all. I'm just speaking completely from the top of my head. So if you would like to be creative, then this is the key. This is the big secret. This works if you're speaking, and I could keep going for as long as I wanted to, right? And I don't have to keep, and I can say whatever I want. I can go off on other topics. I can talk about other times that I've done this. I can talk about other applications that I've done this. I can talk about how it's related to historical practices of meditation. I can talk about what the religious, like the modern religious reaction is to meditation, and how, some people support it and some people don't support it. And I can talk about how science reacts to it, and then a lot of people think that it's some kind of pseudoscience, but on the other hand, scientific experiments have validated that meditation has measurable health benefits. And so there's a lot of different ways that I could go with this, and all of this is just coming to me from the top of my head because I'm open, because my spirit is open. That was something that was very difficult for me in the past. I always had a very difficult time figuring out what to say. And so, well, that's partially true. When I was speaking, I always had a difficult time. Because with speaking, there's a certain level of pressure. Because you have to figure out something to say now. If I'm going to sit here and think for the next 20 seconds, well, then I leave a 20-second pause in the video, which feels weird. And frankly, is not very good for YouTube, because people get bored during a 20-second pause and they're scrolling through the other suggested videos, and then they go to the other video, and then you lose them, which is bad for basically what YouTube is optimizing for, is watch time. So if people are getting bored and not watching the rest of your video, well, that's not good for your video. Writing is a little different, because writing, you can stop and pause and think for as long as you want. So I've always been very creative as a writer, probably because I never had that level of pressure. Like, I'm always very calm when I'm writing, because there's nothing pressuring me like, I have to write something now, I have to write something now. I can think about the exact best way to say things. And I still sometimes will write out a script of something that if I'm going to do a video, for example, I'll still write out a script. If it's something I want to be very precise, I want to be very calculated, then I'll write it out. But I don't have to do that when I'm making a video for purely informational value. Usually I'll do that if I'm making a sales video or something. So try that with whenever you think, hey, I wish I had a good idea, or I wish I could come up with something to write, or something to say, or something, a topic or a business idea, or something cool that I could contribute to work. Try meditating. I like to meditate with a notepad, by the way. That's kind of one of my secrets for how I come up with ideas, is I will just sit there with a blank notepad and a pen, meditate, clear my mind, and allow ideas to come to me, usually sitting somewhere quiet and peaceful, and somewhere in a beautiful location is helpful. And then the ideas come to me, and sometimes those are ideas that are good ideas that have made me a lot of money and or benefited me in other ways. So give that a try, see what happens.